I just wanted to talk to you today about something really, really fascinating. And this is about how we can actually end up creating the responses that we don't want. Now, there's something going on in your own brain and in your own mind that if you believe something, you will actually act in a way to make that true. I know, it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But this is something that's happening in your brain. Now, beliefs are so important to all human beings because they are how we live, how we act, how we feel. They really are our rule book in life and dictate really what's happening. Now, beliefs aren't actually true, but they will be true to you. There are certain things, obviously, that everybody believes because they're scientifically proven. You know, the sun comes up in the morning, it goes down at night. There's certain things that sort of are proven and then everybody believes them. But when it comes to your life and, you know, what you believe about life in general, what you believe about you, what you believe about other people, and what's going to happen in your world on a day-to-day basis is totally subjective. It's decided by you. Now, it could be things that you've learned from growing up. The unconscious mind takes in everything around you, even the things that you don't think you've noticed. And this is really how we start to develop beliefs. Now, when it's beliefs about yourself, these are the ones that you're going to make true, and the ones that your brain are going to look for and prove and reprove the belief. Now, how this works in terms of, you know, I sort of did this video on the back of a post that I put on Facebook about where you're frightened to speak. You're frightened to speak out because you're fearing the consequences of what you do. This could be around a particular person or it could be in general. Now, if you have a belief, say, for example, that nobody listens to you or that nobody takes on board what's important to you, that you don't matter, and that nothing will happen if I speak, or if I speak out, I get negative consequences and people get angry with me. You can see that sort of belief system playing out. Then you will actually act in a way to create the response that you expect. I know. And if you used to think if you was to start to take control and look at your own belief systems, that if you were actually to be able to change stuff inside of you, that you would be able to create a different response from people. Now, the post said, you know, you're around someone that causes you to withhold your opinion, where it's easier to not say anything because of maybe getting an adverse or upsetting response. I did say that first off, they could be a knob. This is true. You're never responsible for however somebody else chooses to respond. But there is also something at play here that you can change. So if you're around someone like this, it could be that, you know, it's an opportunity for you to do this, and it is a throwback to your past. A learning maybe that you shouldn't upset someone because they will be upset. They may get angry or defensive and then you feel bad for it. Was this something you learned way back when? You know, in the present, this learning may still be playing out. And you know what's interesting to note is that you're not actually fearful of upsetting people. You're fearful of the feeling it invokes in you. You know, that I feel bad because somebody's upset because of something I said, something I did. That feeling is what you're trying to avoid. It's this that keeps you silent and not expressing yourself. So how is this helpful for you now to know this? Well, if you weren't to feel bad, then you could easily express yourself regardless of the response, because really the response is theirs. It's how you feel inside when you're in control, and when you're not feeling really, really bad and disturbed by it, then it's up to somebody else how they respond. You feel okay. And in this post I said the chances are that you would get a totally different response too. How does that work exactly? If you're fearful of a response, then you're feeling fearful. The energetic vibe you're putting off out of there is one of fear. Now, other people, although not consciously aware of it, will feel that energetic fear. Now, how do other people feel that? Well, they don't know what it is, but they know it feels a bit uncomfortable. It can make them feel a bit uneasy, make them feel a bit sort of worried. And that sort of feeling that somebody else gets can then cause them to react in an adverse way. They're on the back foot. They don't know what's going on. They're feeling a little bit edgy and maybe a little unsafe. So they may well respond in a way that they wouldn't normally. This is just one example of the energy vibe that you've got within you, the fears, the beliefs and the worries you are actually projecting out there and can be causing an adverse response in somebody else. This is how your beliefs then become true, because you will then fearfully say something to somebody, get a bit of a weird adverse response and say, see, it's always true, people do that to me. What I'd like to invite you to consider is that if you were to feel totally confident in speaking out, in expressing yourself, or saying no, or just being able to say, well, actually, I'm not happy with this situation as it is, and you were to say that confidently, that vibe comes across to other people. Now, how do they feel that instead? They will feel that it's valid, what you've said, because you believe it's valid, what you've said. They will then listen and then take on board, if they're decent people to be around, that is. That's a whole different scenario. And you will then get a different response from people. So it's really how you're projecting what's coming from inside of you. They say that the meaning of the communication is the response you get. So if you're getting an adverse response, it's really, really a really useful and brilliant thing to do, to think, oh, how am I projecting that? Am I expecting that sort of response from somebody? It's an interesting thing to consider, isn't it? So if something's happening where you're not able to speak, one, you can look at, is there a fearful energy within you that's generating that? Are you worried? Is it that you're just worried about your own feelings, about how that's going to make you feel? Or is there a different way you can learn to communicate to get the response that you want? Now, in any event, whichever it is, what is really enlightening and empowering to do is to get it sorted. You can always contact me if that's something that you're ready to move ahead and do, because what I really want for you is to be able to be confident on a day-to-day basis, to be not second guessing yourself and analysing whether you should say something, whether you shouldn't, or somehow making these negative feelings you get in these circumstances as okay, or your fault, that maybe it's me scenario. Maybe I could have said it differently, maybe I shouldn't have said anything at all, maybe I chose the wrong time. What is it about me that's making this situation difficult? I don't want you to be dealing with that anymore, because you actually don't have to. It's totally possible that you can speak freely and openly and confidently and get the response that you deserve, and you can learn to do that. So I hope you found this little video exciting as a possibility for yourself. Get in touch with me if it's something you want to resolve and move forward in a more confident way, so that you're not always having to analyse and compare yourself and wonder about whether it's you, and to just stop all this internal over-analysing. Because what's a wonderful thing to do is, when you're in a situation that you don't feel comfortable with, is to be able to very clearly and strongly say, I'm not comfortable with this. Can you imagine just doing that? Saying, I'm really not happy with the way that you've just spoken to me. Did you really mean to upset me when you said that? And there's no energetic fear or worry behind you actually saying that, expressing yourself really, really well, really, really confidently. I hope that you will consider this as something that you deserve, something that you want in your life to be able to move forward in that way. Get in touch, and if you want to have a chat about this and how this would work for you moving forward, please send me a message. Don't sit on this stuff. You don't have to deal with it anymore. So until next time, bye for now.